What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite for a special video here for you guys this afternoon. We're going to be talking about some spicy material, an up-close sneak peek of Season 5 Reloaded, plus some huge teasers for DLC 4. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And also as a reminder, I'll be playing with every single one of you guys out there that sends me proof of using code Dynamite over at checkout on GamerAdvantage.com. Their link is, of course, down below in the description. And I'll be doing plenty of open lobbies starting tonight with my countdown stream to Season 5 Reloaded's DLC launch. The launch of the DLC should be at around 9 p.m. Pacific as usual, but could even go live a little bit early. Sometimes they drop it 30 minutes to even an hour ahead of their schedule. I'll also be doing a beta code giveaway for the Vanguard multiplayer beta, which begins this Friday for PlayStation. If you digitally pre-ordered the game itself, you'll get early access from Friday until Sunday. I'll be giving away those codes over on the Bombshell podcast this Friday. In order to enter my giveaway, make sure you are following all of my socials, which are linked over in my link tree that is down below in the description as well. But before we proceed with Season 5 Reloaded and a sneak peek, let's go and thank the sponsor of today's video. Now, tonight's video is sponsored by Manscaped. I'm sure you've all heard of these legends by now, but they've kindly hooked me up with the Performance Package Kit. And we have a variety of products here, including the Lawnmower 3.0, the waterproof body trimmer that's built with advanced skin-safe technology, and we also have the electric waterproof ear and nose trimmer with a 360 rotary dual blade system. Manscaped also came in clutch with specialized deodorant, toner, and lotion for your friends down there. They were also kind enough to send the Shears 2.0 kit featuring some necessities for everyday hygiene. Now, for a limited time, customers will also receive two special gifts: the Sleek Shed travel bag and the High Performance Boxer briefs. So if you're ready to take care of your friends down there like you never have before, be sure to use a special link down below in the description to check out Manscaped, and be sure to use code Dynamite to save 20% off your order. Thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring tonight's video. Now back to the video. I apologize if my voice sounds a little more congested than usual. My allergies are horrible as I'm moving into a new home, and I'll be done with moving by the end of this week after all these streams and events are done. But I apologize for how my voice may sound for you guys. Don't make fun of me in the comments. Now, yesterday we got the full multiplayer reveal for Call of Duty Vanguard. And looking at the reveal itself, I was impressed with what I saw, and the gameplay the content creators posted also helped me get a better understanding of how 6v6 and other bigger game modes are going to play like. I really enjoyed the alpha, so I had high expectations for the reveal, and I wasn't disappointed. But one thing worth pointing out is that we are getting 2 World at War remastered maps at launch of Vanguard multiplayer, so that may have been the secret as to how Sledgehammer managed to prepare 16 different 6v6 maps for the launch of the game in November. Some of those maps might end up being remastered, and I'm totally fine with them bringing back maybe a few maps from World War II 2017 that we all liked, or even going back to World at War. So for the first time, they were allowed to use Treyarch multiplayer maps for their iteration of multiplayer, and that gets me excited for what the future may hold for the Call of Duty canon. It seems like Vanguard may in fact be a sequel to both World at War and World War II 2017, so although Treyarch is making the zombies, I think we'll still feel their presence even in the multiplayer. So if everything is canon and connected to one another, we could end up seeing characters like Reznov or even Dimitri pop up as Easter eggs or cameos in the Vanguard campaign. Lots of possibilities with that. Let me know how you're feeling about that down below in the comments. We also got the reveal of an FOV slider that will in fact be on console during the launch period of Vanguard. So hopefully it supports all modes, not just the multiplayer, but right now we know it at least works for multiplayer, but it will not be in the beta, and that's definitely really hopeful for those out there that do plan on buying Vanguard on either current gen or last gen consoles. Now, as of now, I would say it's probably best to keep FOV slider on current gen PS5 and Xbox Series X to ensure stability is as strong as possible and doesn't affect how people play the game on last gen consoles if that's where they're buying it on. But if they manage to get an FOV slider on the Modern Warfare engine, then maybe with the next gen enhancement that we're going to get to Warzone in November, that may open up the possibility of seeing FOV slider on console for the new Warzone Pacific experience. Figured I'd point that out real quickly in case you guys were interested, and if you guys out there are waiting to pre-order until you heard an FOV slider announcement, then now you have one, which is fantastic. But speaking of Vanguard, the operator of Kingsley has popped up over in the Black Ops Cold War operator menu for some people out there, and that goes along with the pre-order bonus that was promised in the Vanguard reveal blog post. I went over this, I think it was a good 2 weeks ago, and it was unclear when Kingsley was going to release, but as a part of pre-ordering the game, you'll get access to his operator a little bit early in both Black Ops Cold War and Warzone. I'm assuming this will go public maybe after this first weekend of the beta beta coming up if you have early access on PlayStation, or they'll wait until closer to the numbers event, September the 21st, which is after the beta, to finally release him as a bit of a bonus. But similar to the Woods bonus in Warzone last year, or Captain Price that was added to Cold War, they're not really canon characters and don't really fit in this era or timeline that Black Ops Cold War is in, or other CODs may be in. So they're just here for fun and for the sake of a little bit of marketing and for the sake of rewarding us with something for pre-ordering the next Call of Duty. But because there's not too much dropping tonight, this video isn't too complex. But we first have a look at Zoo, a brand new 66 map coming to Black Ops Cold War multiplayer, and it plays extremely well in this game with the weapons, kill streaks, mechanics, the way the bots work, and yes, it is a faithful remaster of the Black Ops 1 version with a serious fresh coat of paint. It's like I said before, they went ahead and used the assets that are in the Zoo Outbreak region to put this 66 version together, and this may have been Treyarch's way of making up for the lack of Zoo over in Fireteam, since for whatever reason, Outbreak Zoo is exclusive to zombies. They didn't end up adding it into multiplayer as we saw with Golova, Duga, other regions in the past. My prayers were answered though, with Treyarch finally remastering some amazing Black Ops 1 maps for this game. I mean, considering this game takes place in nearly the same era as Black Ops 1, it doesn't really make sense to add in any other remasters from Black Ops 2, 3, or 4. It makes sense to look at Black Ops 1, and there are dozens and dozens of maps from Black Ops 1. Like I've stressed so many times in the past, so many maps from Black Ops 1 that would play perfectly in this game and never got remastered a single time. So for a majority of the community out there today, this will be people's first time playing Zoo from Black Ops 1, but here in Cold War multiplayer. So I think that's the beauty of bringing back really old maps that either never got remastered before or only got brought back once or twice. It's going to be a majority of people's first time ever trying those maps, so they don't have to even market it as a remaster. It's essentially a new map for 99% of people out there. Similar to Castle and Dome returning from World at War, those maps never return in other Call of Duty, so it'll be people's first time playing them with Vanguard multiplayer, and those are definitely phenomenal maps to bring back. I cannot lie about that. I know for a fact Castle was going to come back in a bit of a museum map for Black Ops 1. They got scrapped. I heard about that on the COD Wiki. I'll leave that down below in the description in case you guys are interested. But this map just looks more beautiful than it needs to be. And it looks like they kind of want to hint that the Outbreak region of Zoo is kind of spiritually there in the outskirts of this map. As you can see behind the gates, you'll see this more in the footage later, but the city that surrounds the zoo itself looks amazing. You couldn't even tell that this was there over in the Black Ops 1 version, because of course on last-gen hardware, or I should say last-gen hardware, PS3 and Xbox 360, you know, maps didn't have too much color or saturation. I mean, some of the maps looked good for their time, but looking back at it now, it was very gray, a little dull, and we can't blame developers for that. That's what they were, you know, given to work with back then, but this just gives a whole new light to shine on the map of Zoo. It looks completely and drastically different in every way possible. I mean, beautifully vibrant. Love to see that. Now, we also have the dual-wield Psy melee weapons, which are not going to be available until the numbers event September the 21st. I think there'll be a reward for completing most of the challenges in that event in either Cold War or Warzone. And it's weird how there are 2 hits to actually kill an enemy, but at the same time, considering you have 2, theoretically it may take a slice from each one on an enemy to fully kill them. So I'm not sure what the explanation may be. They might clarify this more in the patch notes later, but this could also be changed by the time, you know, they fully release. They might buff it after an update or 2. That's happened before in the past, other melee weapons and even regular weapons already in the game. And there is a really cool reactive looking camo we're going to be able to get on them. So it seems like what's going to happen is we're going to earn a base version of these side melee weapons from doing something, and then there'll be a reactive camo over the side melee weapons that we'll get through other means. Totally unclear right now, but yes, you will feel like Raphael from TMNT. The numbers event doesn't begin for a couple of weeks, I'm assuming because they want to keep Vanguard in the spotlight with the beta starting this weekend, and then they'll kind of really wrap up Season 5 with that event towards the end of September, which will be roughly a good week and a half before the start of Season 6. We do have a numbers tracer, which seems like it'll be on some type of bundle, and we'll have to find this out later when COD Tracker posts all upcoming bundles for the mid-season updates. But again, just something that everybody out there would have wanted to see with a Mason bundle, so that'll probably be what it's bundled with. Can't wait to see what happens in the future. And people are also wondering what's going on with Dark Aether Camo support for Warzone. Is it finally going to drop during the mid-season updates? I know there is speculation being posted by COD partner E. coli Espresso, who mentioned that this teaser image from the Season 5 Reloaded blog post may be hinting at the fact during the numbers event we could end up seeing support for the camo that we've all been waiting for since, what, Season 1. And I get it, right? That image does blur out what camo was on the guy's weapon. It's kind of suspicious. It could be something, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, even if they add Dark Aether camo supports in Vanguard cycle, it still technically works, considering Vanguard zombies will be in the same Dark Aether storyline, a prequel to Cold War at least, and it's still going to be relevant if they add it in that late. Maybe they're waiting until the Vanguard integration in November to add in something crazy like that. Even though it's just the camo, those require people out there who work at Raven or other studios to test the camo on every weapon, make sure it looks good as you convert it from Cold War's engine to the Modern Warfare one. Let's see when they end up doing that, but I'd assume it is going to happen sooner than later, even though it should have probably been in the game back during Season 1. And we also got a preview of both Hudson and Judge Dredd in action over in Black Ops Cold War. We got some previews of their operators from the menu, some finishing moves. Let me know how you feel about these down below in the comments. And it's great to see these. It's unclear when Hudson is going to drop in multiplayer through his bundle, and I get it, they're gonna probably save some juicier content for close to the numbers event at the end of September. Once again, after the Vanguard beta is out of the spotlight, that's probably what's going to happen here. But it's really cool to see a Judge Dredd crossover that nobody could have expected. A bit of a 90s action heroes event on a bit of a smaller scale than the 80s action heroes event, if you guys want to put it like that. But it's still possible to see some other 90s characters. You know, the Cold War ended in 91, so that's how that works. I know Judge Dredd is from the 70s through his comics, but his movie came out in the 90s. So it's still possible to see more character crossovers like this in the final season, which begins on October the 6th. Demolition is also a very classic game mode from Black Ops 1, and I think it originated in Modern Warfare 2, which was before Black Ops 1, but I most played it in Treyarch's first Black Ops. And I'm wondering how popular it'll be in the public match playlist when it launches tonight. Definitely a fan favorite of mine. It got brought back a couple of times. I remember it was in Black Ops 2. Population wasn't too heavy on that mode. But it was in Black Ops 3 briefly, I believe, through an LTM, or came back periodically, but was never in the game permanently, if I remember correctly. I don't think we ever saw it in Black Ops 4, unfortunately, but glad to see it come back. I think Infinity Ward brought their own iteration of it in Modern Warfare 2019, but it's essentially a bit of a faster-paced version of Search and Destroy with respawns, and the fact that every player has a bomb, and it's the goal to detonate the 2 bombs that are on the map, or defend the 2 from being detonated if you're on the other side. So this mode should play well on most maps, without a doubt. It's a fan favorite from a couple of other Black Ops games, so I think Trey brought that back for a reason, considering Season 5 is a little bit, what should I say, Black Ops 1 centric with the numbers, Black Ops 1 remastered maps, and of course here, a Black Ops 1 remastered mode, even though Trey didn't originally come up with the mode itself. My issue though, as I wanted to point out real quickly, is the quote-unquote restarting fresh issue. The fact that a certain Call of Duty from a certain developer may end after Season 6 with X amount of content, right? But then the sequel to that game that the dev then puts out a year or 2 later, and then we have to wait months and months for them to add that content back in. For example, modes like this, or party games, or other features that you would think should be in at launch so that they spend the rest of the DLC cycle adding in new content and new features. But a trend that we've seen over the past few Call of Duty launches is that the game will launch with, a majority of the content that was promised, but then a lot of other features are saved for Season 1 or even way later in the DLC cycle. So I'm hoping that once devs are back at the studio, they'll be able to really reevaluate how they start creating launch content for future Call of Duty experiences. But we did get the official patch notes for Season 5 Reloaded as I was editing this video, and it was confirmed that as of tonight we're going to be seeing new Prestige Shop weapon blueprints and Legacy calling cards that require the use of Prestige keys, of course. The numbers event begins on September the 21st. New event reward weapon is the Sai, we knew that. We have a Tracer Pack for Hudson dropping in season, along with Tracer Pack Judge Dredd, the bundle also dropping in season, plus more. Then for multiplayer we of course have Zoo, Demolition, the Zoo 24/7 playlist, along with new multiplayer event challenges and rewards coming later in season. But for zombies we have the new round-based map feature, Rampage Inducer, the new region coming to Outbreak known as Armada, new Outbreak world event, Black Chest, new Dark Aether story intel over an Outbreak, along with more Dead Ops Arcade 3 updates that I really can't complain about. Gotta love that mode. Hopefully you guys have beat it by now. New Onslaught experience, Drive-In for PlayStation, the Diminishing Lights LTM for Onslaught, another Onslaught weapon blueprint challenge, along with more Dark Aether story intel in Onslaught as well. Later in season we're going to be seeing the new Outbreak mode of survival, along with more event challenges and rewards for zombies altogether. Now we do know we are getting an update to Onslaught with the mid-season updates featuring supports on the map Drive-In, and we're also going to be getting the LTM Diminishing Lights, which is a bit of a hybrid of regular Onslaught, except the orb will, I think, constantly shrink in. You have to shoot the orb for it to expand again as normal, and that'll get harder over time when you're dealing with some of the higher surges, elite enemies then you have that orb that you have to worry about. So I think it's broken if you play it over on local. For some reason, Diminishing Light pops up as an option, which is strange, but at the very most, we do have some gameplay of driving Onslaught, which looks fantastic. Now, November the 1st isn't too far away for Xbox and PC to finally get their hands on Onslaught. So if for whatever reason Vanguard Zombies isn't for you guys, or Vanguard as a whole isn't for you guys, there's a lot of replayability you're going to get out of Onslaught alone, with all the maps you can play on, different LTMs, the features that made the mode so much better. I mean, yeah, it's a bit unfortunate they couldn't play Onslaught for an entire year, but they're going to get the most polished and I would say well-rounded version of it with the most amount of content once it drops in a couple of weeks. And November the 1st is before the launch of Vanguard, so you can go ahead and grind the hell out of Onslaught for 4 days straight before a new Call of Duty comes out, which is fantastic. Hope you guys enjoy it when it does release. Now, Armada is a bit of a tricky one, so we have the loading screen for what it's going to look like over in Outbreak, and it does seem like we're going to get a bit of a different version of Armada just for Outbreak Zombies, considering the map is fairly interesting over in Combined Arms. There's a strike version for 66 multiplayer, but when it comes to Outbreak, I think it all begs the question, right? How are we going to have world events like Orta or the escort mission? How will that work in a map that essentially is broken up into 3 big ships with zip lines connecting them, water beneath, of course, with the boats? There's a lot of way to traverse your way around this bigger region, so I'm curious how everything's going to play out in Zombies tonight. We're going to have to wait and see, but it's unclear why in local sometimes little bits of content are playable early even if they aren't released yet. But a good example is Armada Onslaught, which for whatever reason was just sitting in the menu and now has been patched out, at least for most people, and it looked like that wasn't anywhere near completed, right? There were a lot of death barriers in that experience. I played it on stream for fun to show you guys what it was like, and maybe they were considering Onslaught Armada at one point, scrapped it, and said, you know what, we're going to use Armada for Outbreak later in the future, so it's no problem they didn't add it into Onslaught. Last and definitely not least, a little bit of an intel breakdown for Season 5 Reloaded. So a lot has been found and is worth its own separate video. I'll be making that very soon. But just to kind of scratch the surface a little bit, it's being hinted that DLC 4 will be in Ukraine. And fun fact, the only area in Ukraine that we go to for Black Ops Cold War is the campaign mission Red Light, Green Light. So will that map in any way be reused for the finale of Cold War Zombies? It's totally possible, and I know the Dark Aethers seem like a better fit for the finale of this game, and we still could go into there at some point during the main quest, but as of right now, it seems like the game may end up reusing some elements from that campaign mission, which I'm totally fine with. I know Treyarch is probably extremely busy at work working on the launch map of Vanguard Zombies, but I also want to ask you guys this: is it possible that the first Vanguard Zombies map doesn't launch until Season 1 in late November? Because, as it was rumored the other day, Season 6 Reloaded isn't dropping until the day before Call of Duty Vanguard. So will that end up being the official launch date of the finale of the Cold War Zombies, and that would essentially make up for the lack of a new Zombies map with Vanguard a day later, and we'd have to wait, what, a good 2.5 to 3 weeks for the first map that'll probably launch in Season 1. Just a possibility right now if they want to wait until Season 6 Reloaded to drop DLC 4. But what I would predict, and what makes the most sense, is dropping DLC 4 either at the start or very close to the mid-season updates of Season 6. And then Season 6 Reloaded could have a little bit of extra content, but not too much, considering a new Call of Duty releases a whole day later. Then we could still have a new Zombies map in Vanguard during the launch week. And we do know we're going to get marketing about that closer to Halloween with the Hallows Eve event. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the mid-season update for Season 5? Are you excited for Zoo, Demolition? We have new Zombies updates coming out. Lots of exciting content I'll be breaking down in more detail with my countdown stream that's happening later tonight. Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everyone.